I feel a little like my 3-year-old right now. You know when you don't get something that you wanted, and then you try to tell yourself and rationalize, that's all right. I didn't really want it anyway. That's all right. That's okay. I wasn't really asking for it. And you feel like you're not going to get it anyway, so you go into your defensive mode. You're like, that's all right. It wasn't that big of a deal anyway. I feel that way now about Deshaun Watson because it seems like maybe trending towards him not playing on Saturday. He sits out of practice yesterday with general arm soreness. Ryan, I didn't even want to tell you the last time that I remember a quarterback having arm soreness in camp. It was Johnny Manziel. He was out there and he goes, yeah. And I was like, man, I had never heard of that before. But Watson, we know, coming off the injury, trying to get ramped back up, he sits out of practice. And I try to tell myself, maybe they're saving him for Saturday. Maybe they're getting him ready to go for Saturday. Then I stop and I say, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, you've got Watson coming off this injury, and now you've got arm issues, sit him down. Sit him down. And I go to a good tweet from Ben Axelrod yesterday, and Ben goes, do you really think one preseason quarter is going to turn or flip how Deshaun Watson's season goes? So now I'm coming out the other side. Now I'm like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't play him. I still would like to see him out there. I think there's a chance he could be. We'll talk about that this morning. Other things coming out from the Browns yesterday. And hey, 9:30, Warren Sharp. SharpFootballAnalysis.com, the football preview, the fantasy football preview. It's all there, and a ton of Deshaun Watson to discuss with Warren at 9:30. If you're a Browns fan, you are not going to want to miss that. Coming up at 9:30 with him. Guards. Yeah. The only thing that pains me about that is my guy Joey Cantillo getting roughed up. But it is Aaron Judge. It's Juan Soto. Fine. I'm not that upset about it. Our empty nester, nasty nester did not. I don't think a single damn thing that we put in that parlay hit.
Well, good day.
He gave up no walks.
Good day for the fade people.
I guess it's good day for fading us. We'll get back to the guards tonight. We got that coming up. The grid. Come on now. Day 4 of that. A very highly contested bracket. We'll get to the morning update. We got time up. We got it all on a beautiful Thursday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have you alongside. Drop a follow if you can at Matt Fontana Show. If you do that, you'll already be ready to go when we finish the grid this week and get our giveaway. You'll be good to go on that. YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram, all at Matt Fontana Show. Lot to get to this morning on the football side of things, and that includes, again, Warren at 9:30. And I'm really excited. I've been following Warren for a long time, and now that, betting is certainly a big thing, but even just as football is turned into this analytic type of game now, where you've got a lot of these stats that sometimes you need explained, but the biggest thing about Warren, he just goes off the stats. And he's got stats about Deshaun Watson, mostly of last season, which can be tough, that I can't wait to dive into. The sack to pressure rate. You brought up a tweet he just sent yesterday, Ryan, about incompletions due to poor throws, like all of that. So I really want to dive into with Warren at 9:30 about, it's like this. We need to bring up the concerns with Deshaun Watson because we need to know what to look for. We need to have an idea of where we need to improve with Deshaun, but certainly want to ask him about the offensive line. Warren perennially has the Browns' offensive line as one of the best in football. How much has that changed for this season? We got to talk Garrett. We'll talk the defense. That's coming up at 9:30. Really going to be a must-listen for all Browns fans when Warren Sharp joins us. So we'll get to that coming up later. Watson out of practice yesterday. Here's my question. Is it his shoulder or is it his elbow? Like when you hear general arm soreness, Ryan, it's not like he got hit. It's not. You ever take a face mask right to like your deltoid area right there? Like it hurts, man. It doesn't feel good. It's not that. It's him throwing. And I'm sure the Browns left wiggle room on his plan of coming back. Remember when he was throwing every other day and he's kind of then ramped up? If I told you a guy coming off of arm surgery has a sore arm in the middle of August, that should not be shocking to any of us. It really shouldn't. So I'm not alarmed so much about that. It's, does this now hurt his chances for playing on Saturday? And I keep coming back. Ben had that tweet that kind of gave me like a little, recentered me, so to speak, to go, is that really going to make or break his season coming up? And that's the tough thing about Browns fans, man. We want assurance in this whole thing where it's been a lot of questions and a lot of predictions and a lot of hope. You want that to get paid off. You want eventually for all of our hope to come to fruition and say, yep, Deshaun Watson's the guy. So there's a little part of that of seeing him out there in a preseason game, going 10 for 12, throwing a touchdown on 2 drives, and you feel better entering the season because we're all uneasy about it. And I think even if you're the biggest Deshaun Watson fan or biggest Deshaun Watson defender, there's still doubt. Doubt is inevitable. It will creep in there, and you just wanted a little payoff to see him out there. Now, me personally, what have I been saying? I just wanted him to face a real pass rush, to face a defense that isn't manufactured in a setting in practice to get out there and know you got guys going 100% at you. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of like that maybe it'd be the backups because those guys are hungry. Now, do I want them taking a cheap shot at Deshaun Watson and twisting his ankle? No. And that's another thing that Kevin Stefanski has to factor in with Watson. So let me ask you this, Ryan. Do you think him missing practice yesterday has signed, sealed, and delivered? He ain't playing on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I thought, to answer that question, I just don't know, right?
Yeah.
I almost wonder if, listen, you already had concerns about playing Deshaun Watson because of your left tackle situation. Now, was this something that maybe came out because conspiracy theory time? They want this baked-in excuse of Deshaun Watson not playing to not let people get upset. The fact that, now this just assures that this is the correct decision to not send Deshaun Watson out there Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
Now, the first thing I thought of was, okay, is this something that's going to be lingering into the whole season, right?
Yeah.
This is a very unique injury, as we know. So, and then if this is truly going to be something that we have to deal with the whole entire season, is this going to be something where we're at practice Wednesday, Thursday, he gets sore, and then now Jameis is going to have to start, or when it gets to the regular season, is this something that he's going to be able to play through on a weekly basis?
The funny thing is, it comes back to something. Is it going to get worse? Remember when we had all those conversations like, oh man, is this injury something that can get worse? And you hear that in sports where doctors come to you and go, yeah, you might as well play on it because you can't make it much worse, which I think is shocks some people. I'm not a doctor. How is that a statement? How is that a statement? When you have an injury, for a doctor to go, well, you can't make it much worse. It's like, oh, well, it's already torn or it's already broken or whatever. Like, yeah, play on it. You can't make it much worse. I never once have thought that is a factual statement. You can always make it worse. So if they sit there and they say, hey, this is just, and again, it's not like he tore something. I'm sure it's just sore. You play baseball, when your arm is dead and you you're just like not feeling it.
Rubber elbow.
Oh, man. And you're just like, you ice it and you do everything you can. It just doesn't come back, right? And it takes time off. Now, here's the other reason why I maybe have some optimism that he's going to play. They're off today, tomorrow, and all day Saturday, right? Would you not then sit him yesterday? He is going to have almost 4 full days off. He didn't practice yesterday. They're flying to Seattle today. They're going to go to the fish market tomorrow. I don't know. What else would you do in Seattle? And Saturday, he's got all day to get ready to go. I don't expect Kevin Stefanski to make this decision until Saturday. So I'd make it at like 3 o'clock Saturday. You might find out when they send out that list of expected to play or not. There's no rush. I don't care. So you have 4 full days to figure it out, and I'm sure that might even be something. Hey, do all your rehab, do all your therapy, and get ready to go Saturday, and we'll see how you feel Saturday morning. Go out to the parking lot, go to the hotel, throw some passes, see how you feel, and we'll make your determination there. I do circle back, though, about how much does it help or what does it matter for Watson going into the regular season. And that debate rages on about preseason and getting live reps. And Stefanski said this week he doesn't feel like Watson has to take a hit, was the question to him to get ready to go. But I just some little primer, some little warm-up. You would think that Watson would want that. Now, again, what did Stefanski say this week? Hey, man, I'm going to listen to Deshaun's opinion. Wouldn't you want to get dude, I've never been in an NFL game. I've never stood in a pocket and had guys come try to tackle me. I would imagine you would want some sort of reps, and maybe the joint practices sufficed for that. with everything swirling, even with him testing his arm. Don't you want it? Oh, no, man, I uncorked a 50-yarder at practice the other day. I'm like, okay, I guess. Like, I would just think human nature would want you back out there. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, back to your point of if you have 4 days off, and if that soreness isn't really fixed enough for you to be able to go out there, then that makes me think, okay, yeah, this is going to be something that lingers throughout this whole entire season.
Yeah, and that, again, that comes back to, is this something you can make it worse? Is this something you got to completely flush out and get ready to go for the season? We'll see. Other news yesterday, happy to say that Pierre Strong was released from the hospital. So it sounded like it was a rib contusion. I would imagine at that point they're worried about like a punctured lung or something like that. You know,
how does your rib contuge?
Well, a contusion is a bruise. That's nothing worse than like a bruise. That's what, like, I think technical term of like a contusion is. Now, here's the weird thing. I even have displaced ribs. It's the weirdest thing in the world. No joke, man. I displaced one of my ribs picking up my kid 3 years ago. Well, not 3 years ago, but about then. And it's bothered me ever since. And I go to the chiropractor and she like pushes it back into place. It hurts for 2 seconds, and then you get an instant wave of relief. But then I went last time. She goes, yeah, Matt, you don't have one rib displaced. You have 3.
Nice.
Congratulations. And I'm like, great. That's what happens when you stop working out. So that's where we're at.
Well, if you displace all your other ribs, won't they all
Shouldn't
not
they
be
just all be
displaced?
back in place, you would think.
Yeah.
Now, the pain is the muscles in your back. When your rib is popped up, your muscle, instead of it being flat, your muscles going like this, it's like this, and then they go over top. That's where the pain comes in.
Yeah.
Because now you're just like aching. It hurts, right? Dude, don't turn 35, man. I'm done. You talk about I think about this. So my son, we're signing up for soccer. I got his schedule, by the way. I'm very excited. You have to come out to a game, all right? Saturday mornings. We'll see you there. Yeah. You don't know what's in this coffee. Yeah. Woo.
McDonald's cup.
Oh, dude, good McDonald's coffee, man. Hell yeah. A little iced coffee action there. I love it. He's going to, eventually I want him to start like playing baseball, you know, and I can't throw to him hard now, but I think about that. I'm like, man, I'm going to have to get back into shape a couple of years. I'm going to have to start throwing.
Yeah, I'll never forget the day like when we play catch with your dad outside every day when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You'll never forget like the day like you realize you throw too hard for him.
Well, or the day that you realize you can tell him like, Dad, throw it hard, and you catch it. And you're like, okay, I can do this now.
Yeah.
If anything for my son, he needs to have an arm. I had a good arm. And it really came because my brother and I, we would play catch every day. We would long toss every day. You remember in the spring when the snow would finally melt on the street and you just go out to the street to get some throws in? I'm going to have to get back into shape for that. I got a couple years to go.
Are you going to be able to golf?
Yeah, that's one thing. Like if I need to keep in shape just to golf. You know, I quit playing baseball years ago. My wife told me, she's like, I just don't want you getting hurt anymore. I'm like, okay, fine. But there's that. You know, my brother still plays in softball leagues. He's asked, like, do you want to come fill in? And I'm like, yeah, I'd go out there and tear my Achilles.
I would love if we had a big play softball team.
You know, I thought about that. I've had this idea for a long time. And I'll just throw this out here now. We got our golf outing coming up August 31st, bigplay.com. Get your tickets now. But I've had this idea for a long time. If we created our own softball league over the summers.
I would love that.
You know, we'd have to the only problem is softball is uber popular here in Cleveland. You got leagues everywhere. And the only thing that we're going to run into is fields where it's going to be hard to like carve out a chunk to get a feel. But I thought about it. What if we did softball leagues? We'd broadcast them. You and I could do play-by-play. Like, I always thought about that as an idea. Get the sponsors going, do it. But dude, there are teams out there there are professional softball players. There's a guy I went to high school with. He plays on, like, a traveling, legitimate softball league. The thing is, these teams, they're already in, like, 3 or 4 leagues where they play like 5 nights a week. And then it's just a rotation of like who can make it or what team's playing here, what team's going to go over to this league. It's big business, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it is. And then the bars sponsor the, teams and all that kind of stuff. It's an idea I've had. It's an idea that I've had. But yeah, anybody that's, oh man, charity. I played in a charity softball game probably 6 years ago. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do it again for charity, but I'm out, man. Golf is the athletic thing for me now. That's it. That's all I do. I wish I could work out more, but here we are. Speaking of working out, did not work out with Katie Work again. Kind of sort of. I sent this tweet out this morning.
I would say it did work out.
How so? We got a draft pick
You got
out
a
of
draft
it?
pick for him.
Yeah. So Cade York gone again, traded back. And I sent this list out. And maybe it's unfair, but I thought about this. Of the most hyped Browns players that had no production, I don't think anybody on that list will ever surpass Johnny Manziel. And I got sucked into the Manziel mania. I was all about John Paul football. And it's so funny this comes back. So ESPN Radio sent out the Hembo question of the day yesterday. Do you know the only starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns to have a winning record since 1999? Do you know who it is? Other than Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Other than Deshaun Watson. And here were the options.
Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer's the answer. You know that, right? You do. So, and I sent the tweet out to say, man, I used to give him so much crap. I used to be like, he sucks and get him out of here. And I want Johnny to play. Now, here's the awkward part of it. My mother-in-law knows Axel Hoyer, Brian's dad. Munch, who I used to host shows with, knew Axel Hoyer really well. And I ran into Axel Hoyer one time at Hofbrauhaus. And this was after
Were the beers flowing?
Well, here's the thing. This was post, like, Manziel had already flamed out, and it wasn't a quick interaction, but I just said, Mr. Hoyer, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
You're talking about a Mr. Hero legend.
Mr. Hero, Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer. Hell yeah. Who's that? Heartline, Hoyer. I want to say, did Richardson do it once? I don't know. The list of Mr. Hero pitchmen from the Browns is a distinguished list. I'd like to get on that list.
Oh, I see Anderson Varejao. Was he Mr. Hero legend?
Did he do it? Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
First was Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
Next it was Anderson Varejao.
Nice.
Let's see. Who else was it? Yeah, Brian Hartline.
Hartline, I remember his ads. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's it or not.
I think there were a few more around, but dude, Mr. Hero, God, Lord, you know me and Mr. Hero, man. They have the greatest tuna sub I've ever had in my life.
I cannot stop seeing and hearing about this waffle doodle.
They're all over the ads. I'm kind of interested, to be honest with you.
Every drive home, every drive here,
dude. A Roman burger.
Doodle.
Can I tell you a quick Mr. Hero story before we get back to Manziel? So the girl I was dating in high school, I went to her grad party, and we're hanging out, and her uncle, who's from out of state, comes out, and he says something to, at the time, my girlfriend Sarah, her dad. And he's got coolers with him. And they go, all right, it's time to go. And I go, where the hell are they going? They going, oh, he's going to Mr. Hero. And I go, what? He called the restaurant ahead of time. And he said, I want 25 pounds of Roman burger meat. I'm going to put him in this cooler so I can drive him home with me. That's how much he missed Mr. Hero. He was a Clevelander who lived like in Pennsylvania or somewhere, and he didn't get his Mr. Hero Roman burger. So he goes, he calls the restaurant, says, set aside 25 pounds of Roman burger meat for me. I'm coming to pick it up today.
There you go.
That's how good. God, I love Roman burgers. Roman burger, but I'm telling you, that tuna at Mr. Hero is the best. Anyway, back to Hoyer and Manziel. I was so sucked in on Johnny for the hype, and I look back on it now, and I realize he had nothing that was going to translate to the NFL. Yeah, I know he beat Alabama, and a lot of that was his career of just chucking it up for Mike Evans to make him look good. But the biggest hype list without production, Manziel is number one. Manziel is absolutely number one. Is Cade York deserving to be on that list? And somebody else tweeted at me, and they said, well, one of those guys actually won us a regular season game, single-handedly, talking about Cade York. And I said, okay. I put Trent Richardson on there. I put Justin Gilbert on there. You know, Browns Horror on Twitter says Elijah Moore. And I was like, but
hype wasn't there, really.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there wasn't a mass amount of hype. Now, you mentioned, like, Courtney Brown. But I think injuries got in the way with him. But again, you're right. He didn't produce. The same thing with Couch. If he hadn't broken his leg, who knows where we'd be, right? I'm trying to think of other guys that when we drafted them, you were like, yeah. You mentioned Barkevius Mingo. And I was like, yeah, but that draft was so bad. Yeah. And you were just grasping at straws at that point. I wasn't all that hyped about him. Like, that's a bad one. Baker lived up to it, right? Myles Garrett, certainly. Denzel Ward, yes. Like, is there another draft pick that is in the realm of Cade York, Johnny Manziel? Justin Gilbert. And I don't know how excited people were for Gilbert. I think that was the whole. You want to cry at night? Go watch that. Go look at that draft of just like Hall of Famers, Pro Bowler, Justin Gilbert, Hall of Famer, Pro. Like that draft is so stacked, and there's just Justin Gilbert sitting in the middle of all of it. But anyway, of all the hype, somebody said Mike Junkin of a time past. Do you know about Mike Junkin? You know what they called him?
No.
The mad dog in the meat market.
Oh, you did tell me
I told about Mike Junkin. They were so jacked. And that was pre-night. Obviously, I was in the 90s, I think, for Mike Junkin.
How about William Green?
So, like, William Green, people were happy with that pick. But, like, he actually was, I think he was a good running back for us. I don't want to say great. He wasn't great. But William Run, of course, was huge. Junkin was 87. And they took him as the 5th overall pick as a linebacker out of Duke. And at the time, they said, here it is. In regards to the selection, Marty Schottenheimer stated that scout Dom Anil watched Junkin play and compared his style to a mad dog in a meat market. Anil saw him as a second-round talent, though, and felt he wasn't worth of the 5th overall pick, but Schottenheimer overruled his scouts and took Junkin, who, with the 5th overall pick, Ryan, started 7 career games in the NFL. That's
Champ
it.
says Brady Quinn.
Yes. Yeah.
How about this trivia question, Matt?
Yep. Brady Quinn. Great. Whoever sent that in, thank you. That's a great one. Brady, dude, I didn't mean to cut you off here real quick.
Good.
I'll never forget that day, man. We took Joe Thomas, and great pick. Hall of Famer, one of the greatest Browns to ever play. And then, like Aaron Rodgers, quit. And then you got the announcement that the Browns had made the trade. And Quinn was sitting there, and everybody goes, yes, go. He was from Columbus. He went to Notre Dame. And then, of course, what happens? You have your 07 season that Derek Anderson goes off.
Yeah.
And you go, well, we can't play Brady Quinn now. And then they tried to play him whatever. But, yes, that's a great one on Brady Quinn. Yeah. That was an electric day, man. That was an insane day. Sorry, you were going to bring something else up?
Can you name all 5 of the first round picks that have been that are in the Hall of Fame by the Browns?
First round picks?
5 first round picks of the Browns that are in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, obviously Joe.
Yeah, that's the one. Give me.
Jim Brown.
Yep.
Was Otto Graham a first round pick?
I don't know. He's not on this list, so I'm going to assume no. I
think because that's the other thing. Back then, they were they had 16 rounds of the draft. You had free agents, all kind of stuff. Okay. See, the other guys that so the Browns claim Webster Slaughter, but I don't remember if they drafted him.
Not on this list.
Okay. Ozzie is.
Yes.
Yes. Ozzie's on that list.
So 2 more.
We got Joe DeLamielleure later in his career. He had already played with the Bills. Then he came here, so it's not him. Because now, obviously, this got to be pre-'80s. This got to be even earlier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I got 3, right? Jim Brown, Joe Thomas, Ozzie Newsome. There's 2 more first-round picks from the Browns that have made the Hall of Fame.
53 and 64.
All right. Lou Groza.
No.
Yeah, right. He won the first round. No. Huh. I don't know.
Paul Warfield.
Oh, duh.
64 and 53, Doug Atkins.
I wouldn't have got Atkins. I should have got Warfield. Dumbass. There you go. I mean, yeah, and the thing is, well, not first round. Well, Miles. Miles will be the next first round Hall of Famer for the Cleveland Browns. Chubb, maybe. Batonio, maybe. People got all pissed when I mentioned Denzel Ward. I don't think Denzel Ward's going to make it, but I think there's a conversation to be had there. I don't know. It'll be hard for the Browns coming up here, but that's a good trivia question. I like that very much. So again, we asked people for the hype but no production list. The hype touchdown Tommy Vardell. It's just a good nickname. It's probably the best thing about him. See, yeah, again, J Rex says Courtney Brown. Which again is on the question of hype versus production, he didn't have it because he got hurt. Now, maybe I'm looking at the list of other reasons, injuries are kind of easy, but yeah, I'll take that on the list. Final thing before Warren comes up, the Michael Hall development yesterday, which again, the Fox Eye team have learned that the victim in the domestic violence situation, Michael Hawes, recanted her statement against him. Nothing will happen now. And I've made mention of that. That's unfortunately how things go. Now, this is hard, right? Because domestic violence is absolutely horrendous. And I said, if it is truthful that that gun was pulled, then he cannot play for the Cleveland Browns. You know what you're not going to get right now, Ryan? An answer to that question. And it's unfortunate that this seems on the surface, we know what's going on. The money's there, their child, and can't screw that up. I'm going to take it on back. That unfortunately happens a lot. The one thing we got to remember in this is more about that woman. It's her business. As much as we all think we're entitled to this, and I said this when the Watson cases were getting settled, that is between them and him. That is between them and him. And if this is the path that she chooses to go, it's not my business. It is not my place to sit there and tell a grown person, a grown adult woman, how she can handle her life or what she needs to do. That is her business. So with that aside, we now move on. And I'm not saying that the Browns thought that it might go that way, and that's why they've handled it the way that they have, but it's all aside, because that's not my business anymore. If what happened, that's horrible. There should be repercussions, but you will not get the answer to that question anytime soon. Either in the court of law. Now, the thing is, officially, they've not dropped the charges yet. The only thing is she, again, has, recanted her statement. There's no way to proceed without a cooperating witness. You hear that all the time. The witness is uncooperative anymore because they don't want to pursue this. It's an unfortunate situation. I wasn't there. You probably weren't there. We don't know what happened. They're going to drop it, okay? And I'm not sitting here playing moral police. We all know what it is, and you move forward on it. And Michael Hall can focus back on football. I got that tweet from some people yesterday. This is the development, and that's it. Time to focus on football. Not my business. It's theirs. So now that he can, be back, and again, I can just look at it and say now he's hopefully going to be a productive member of this team. And I do want to say this. Hopefully he has learned from this situation. I don't think there's any way you can't. I would say there's any way you can't, but hopefully he's learned from this situation. It's a nice little reminder. And again, not my business, but I hope that maybe they can find some therapy. It was allegedly over a dental procedure for the kid. Hopefully they can remedy that. So, they need to go to therapy together and get this figured out. That's my only hope for this. We drop it. We move on. Boston Brown. Watson's got to be on that list. Got to be number one for production for hype.
Yeah, that trajectory.
At this point, yeah.
Projected to be, yeah.
At this point. That's a perfect segue. Warren's going to be joining us here in a couple minutes. So again, Warren Sharp, sharpfootballanalysis.com is his website. Folks, you want to get into betting, you got fantasy football, Warren has it all. The NFL preview book is live. He's got, how about this? It's right on his website. They have won 60% of their game totals for over a decade. That's winning from Warren Sharp and Sharp Football Analysis. So he's going to join us here in a couple of minutes. And we got a lot of Watson. We got a lot of Watson to discuss because there are concerning trends with Deshaun. I think the one that I saw from Warren last week was a pressure resulting in sack rate, where Josh Allen was number one in football, where every 10 pressures that he had, only one of them resulted in a sack. Deshaun Watson was at 34%. Josh Allen was at 10%. So that comes back to one of my biggest things that I'm watching this season is feeling the pressure, feeling the pass rush. Then there's some advanced stats about, frankly, Watson's accuracy. And I want to bring this up with Warren, not because I want to hammer this or that it's going to fix anything for the season, but it's some of the things that we need to keep our eye on. With some of this stuff that, these stats that you're like, man, what is that? How did they even come up with this? It's a great question for Warren about some of the crazy stats they come up for. It's meant to be a tool, and it's still to your interpretation. Now, I know NFL teams subscribe to some of the stats that Warren and some of these other people come up with. So if they're important enough for NFL teams to do, we got to be taking a look at some of these and just understanding that these are the things we need to keep an eye out for, or understand that these are the areas of improvement, specifically for Deshaun Watson. We got to talk Browns defense. We'll get to Myles Garrett and a lot of that stuff, but it's really just, these are tools to understand. When people always get in these arguments like, oh, Deshaun Watson's cooked or he's just not very good. It's like, okay, you can make that statement by watching. What do I have to supplement that? What do I have to actually say, oh, that was a bad pass? Okay, was it? Was the receiver in the right place? That's where a lot of these advanced stuff comes in. I find it super interesting. I've been following Warren for a long time, and there's some great stuff that he just sends out. And again, it's a lot of quarterback comparisons. It's league-wide. It's not just sitting there saying, hey, this is Deshaun Watson's stat on this. It is literally, let's compare him to the rest of the league by qualified quarterbacks, and we'll understand kind of where he's coming out in this whole thing. So it's exciting. Can't wait to talk about it. Warren Sharp's joining us right now here on the Fontana Show here on Big Play, sharpfootballanalysis.com. Warren, we really appreciate your time. Tell everybody the NFL preview book is now available. The fantasy football book is out. You can get it all right on the website, right? sharpfootballanalysis.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. That's exactly where you can go if you want to get 559 pages of analysis detailing the Browns in one of the chapters, as well as all 31 other teams. Is going to break down kind of my expectations for the season for each one of these teams and where I think they're going to finish in the standings. And in addition, for your listeners, I use the coupon code Browns. You enter that code, you get the book for only $5.
Wow.
So, we've discounted massively. It's regularly $35 down to $5 just because season's right around the corner. Now, you can use this thing during the season because it talks a lot about the betting lines and the rest edges in every single one of the games, but certainly a great resource both before and during the season.
What a deal. Browns code, get it, sharpfootballanalysis.com. Get that book today. It helps you out. And then Warren, right on your site, man, you guys 60% win on the game totals for over a decade. If people just followed that, they'd be cashing every single week. Well, not every week, but every season at 60%. That's incredible.
Yeah, we've only had one down season in like 17 years.
Wow.
That I've been doing this, but I love it. I love using my computer algorithm and trying to forecast the betting lines. We do a better job on totals than the odds makers do when they're setting the games. That's why we're able to win at this rate that we do. We get games out early in the week to subscribers, and it's a lot of fun. So that's also another benefit if you are a subscriber. But like you said, we also have great fantasy insight with Rich Rebar, who's a Ohioan himself from your neck of the woods. And he's big into all things fantasy. He's a wealth of knowledge as well. At some point, you should get him on your show. He loves just his deep dive analysis into everything fantasy football. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge. So
I'm gonna shoot you that DM, Warren. I'd love to have Rich on. You can always follow Warren on Twitter at Sharp Football because I just love it each week, Warren. You guys have the updated stuff and a lot of the updated statistics. Well, again, why I love following you on Twitter is some of the stats that we've seen with Deshaun Watson. So obviously here it's all on Watson. It's all what this season is going to be. And we saw your one yesterday about percentage of incompletions due to inaccurate passes where Watson was at near 44%. The other one that you had, I think last week or the week prior that I brought up a lot on the show was the pressure to sack rate, where Josh Allen was the best in football, where 10% of his pressures actually resulted in a sack. So easy 1 out of 10, right? Watson was up over 30%. Warren, not even just on those two, but even just really when you look at Deshaun Watson, the stats are painting a grim picture for him. We all know that he can turn it around, but just give me your analysis on Deshaun Watson and maybe some of the stats that stand out to you that he really needs to remedy for this season.
Well, I mean, that's one. Like interceptions and sacks are two of the worst things that any quarterback can deliver because they massively change games or they massively kill drives. I'll dig into some of the details, but just on a very high level, you've got to take care of the ball. And when you are sacked, you're basically killing drives. And so he needs to improve in that area. And what we have uncovered through data over the last several years, especially I've been digging into it more over the last 2 years, is that a quarterback actually controls more of the pressure than we initially thought. We knew that he for the last like 5 or 6 years, there were theories out there that he controlled more of the sacks, but I think he actually controls even more of the pressure himself. There's so much that a quarterback can do pre-snap to help alleviate pressure, both by making adjustments at the offensive line to get the team before the snap into the right play call based upon what he's seeing from the defense in terms of an audible, or secondarily, just adjusting the protection if he needs to help occupy an extra pass rusher that might be coming in terms of a blitz. There's a lot of defenses now that are playing around with sim pressures, and that's from film study. That's from studying what this defense coordinator likes to do in certain scenarios and situations, and making it as easy on your offensive line as possible before the snap. Then once you've snapped the ball, where are you seeing that immediate pressure come from? Where might you need to slide in the pocket so that you can avoid throwing under pressure and especially avoid sacks? So he needs to do a lot better there. But a lot of it, hopefully we'll have time to dig into it more here with you momentarily, but relates to just the system that he is in, and like the familiarity that Stefanski has with what he loves to do versus what he's trying to adapt his offense to do, what he thinks Deshaun Watson might like to do, and kind of the sticking points there, because I think that the Cleveland Browns are operating an inefficient offense relative to the strengths of their head coach and play caller. And I really wish that they would go back and embrace more of what was in Stefanski's roots and what landed him this job in the first place as Cleveland Browns head coach. But by the signing of Jerry Jeudy, I obviously don't think that is going to be happening.
So you're talking about something else I saw from you, Warren, was the personnel usage, right? And you had a great stat about 11 usage versus 13, which, again, for the people out there, 11 would be 3 receivers, 13, you get extra tight ends in there. We saw that early with Stefanski here with Baker Mayfield. He loved having multiple tight ends out there. Please, Warren, the floor is yours. Please dive into that. I'm super interested because you're right. It almost sounds like square peg, round hole here of what Stefanski would really like to do, what's his bread and butter versus Deshaun Watson. I can only imagine maybe the Flacco unlocking last year had a little bit to lean towards what Stefanski likes to do. But please, dive into all that about the personnel usage with Deshaun Watson. I find that very interesting as well.
Yeah, I always somewhat of a historian, but I like to dig deep into data, like go back historically. And Kevin Stefanski in 2019, his offense in Minnesota was number 1 in EPA per play. It was number 1 in EPA per pass. And you know what? It wasn't number 1 in usage of 11 personnel. In fact, it was dead last in usage of 11 personnel. They had top 5 rates of multi-tight end sets, top 5 rates of multi-running back sets in the forms of a fullback. This was a heavy offense that utilized a lot of play action, that utilized a lot of under center, and they were not sitting back in shotgun with 11 personnel. They did that at the lowest rate of the NFL, and they were the number 1 most efficient offense in the league in 2019. And the Cleveland Browns front office was enamored by the way that this guy designed the offense and got that production out of the offense. And so they hired him, and he became head coach and play caller. And in the 2020 season, throughout COVID, very difficult time to become an entry-level head coach, took this team to a great record, turned them around. The offense looked competent, and he got coach of the year. And in those years, he was using very low rates of 11 personnel, like 37% 11 personnel in 2020. Then the next season in 2021. Now, he was dealing with Baker Mayfield. Obviously, we know Baker Mayfield is not a perfect quarterback prospect, and so it didn't end perfectly with Baker Mayfield. But this offense was more efficient using the Stefanski style, which was more tight ends. Baker Mayfield had more success in those types of personnel groupings with those 2 or 3 tight end sets out there. And the run game was even more efficient as well, because that was sort of Stefanski's bread and butter with some of the disguises. And so then enter the 2022 season where they go and they sign Deshaun Watson, and they still aren't leaning all the way into 3 wide receiver sets. But once Deshaun gets out there on the field, they up that from was 37% the prior 2 years in 2020, 2021. They go all the way up to 63% in the games that Deshaun Watson is starting at the end of the 2022 season. And then last season, they were all the way up to 66% of 11 personnel. And you look at the numbers in terms of like last season or Deshaun Watson last season, and the splits are night and day different. And the key when you're analyzing these splits is you have to take out third downs, because third downs is you're going to call a play based upon the distance to go. And so if you have longer to go, you're not going to have multiple tight ends out there. If you have 3rd and 2, you might have a package out there that has multiple tight ends. You can't look at like efficiency on third downs based upon like personnel groupings, nor can you use them in the fourth quarter, because that's going to be very dependent upon the game situation. Are you leading? Are you trailing? You might go 3 wides when you're trailing just because you have to get back into the game. So we don't want to look at those types of plays. We want to look at like what the intent of the offense is on early downs in the first half, first 3 quarters of games. And this is where this offense is substantially better using 12 personnel last season. They were averaging 7.2 yards per play versus 5.3 yards per play in 11 personnel. And then you can look at, Deshaun Watson himself, and I'm pulling up the numbers here. Every single Watson pass since the start of 2022, early downs, first 3 quarters. When he's in 11 personnel, minus 0.22 EPA per attempt. When he's in 12 personnel, plus 0.08 EPA per attempt. Just a massive sea change difference between efficiency. And this is the offense that, this is the personnel grouping that Watson is supposedly most comfortable in. This is what he wants.
Right.
Stefanski's changing things for Watson to give him what he wants, and he is not good. He has not been executing in 11 personnel. He's been much better in 12 personnel. And then you back up and you say, well, are we sure that this is the best thing for Stefanski? Like, is he truly better at 12 personnel? And the answer is unequivocally yes. If you look at, you guys have dealt with a lot of quarterbacks. You had a ridiculous number of quarterbacks last season alone. But you look at all the quarterbacks that have thrown a pass since Kevin Stefanski has been here in 2020. 11 personnel, they're averaging minus 0.05 EPA. 12 personnel, plus 0.18. Again, I'm going back to 2020. We've got 4 years worth of data, and every single quarterback that has been there.
Exactly.
You look at success rate. You look at yards per attempt. They go from 6.8 in 11 to 8.1 in 12. What are we talking about? We're talking about the difference between the 25th ranked offense in the NFL passing out of 11 to the number 5 ranked offense passing out of 12 personnel. It's no joke what Stefanski was doing in Minnesota in terms of getting efficiency with heavy personnel. It's no joke what he's been able to do in Cleveland. This has been an excellent offense when they're using those heavy personnel groupings in Cleveland. They've been excellent even with Deshaun Watson using them. But because of what Watson likes and he's familiar with from his days at Clemson and down in Houston and wanting to use more 11 personnel, this is what the Browns have adapted to and changed to. And it's actually going to cause them more problems than help them with solutions and make their offense more efficient. And I forecast that's going to continue this year. Even though they added Jerry Jeudy, I still think that just Stefanski is brilliant calling out of more base and heavier personnel groupings. And I wish that they would lean into that a little bit more this year. But as I said from the jump, I don't think that's going to happen.
That's great stuff. Warren Sharp joining us, sharpfootballanalysis.com. He just told us Browns, use the code, get the preview for just $5 on Warren's website with that code, Browns. And yeah, Warren, I mean, I'd sit there and say, just go over to that other personnel again, but they don't even have that type of personnel anymore. Like, I like Jordan Akins at tight end, but you don't have multiple of those. I did want to ask you about Jerry Jeudy, because a big question for us here, okay, you get him from Denver. Was it that the quarterbacks were so bad in Denver and he just never got a shot? Is it really that he's not all that? Just any thoughts on Jerry Jeudy joining us? And again, that ultimate question, Warren, was it him or the quarterbacks that were the problem in Denver?
I think it was both. I mean, Jerry Jeudy never really fit in there and got comfortable there. And I don't think there was that chemistry there. So I think the fresh start is the best thing for a lot of players in the NFL. You get coaches that, how it is. Like, I'm sure you played sports when you were younger. If a coach and a player don't personality-wise mesh early on or performance-wise mesh early on, then it's easy to kind of move away from them a little bit more. And the same thing happens with the quarterback and that chemistry. For whatever reason, it just didn't work out there. There are assets to Jerry Jeudy's game. He's a great yak guy. He can bring a lot of that to this team. I hope that they stray from throwing him the ball behind the line of scrimmage and all these like short screen passes. Get him the ball on crossing routes a little bit deeper down the field, and then let him run after the catch with them. He's got to improve. He's got to mature a little bit. But I think with better coaching and the better situation, hopefully in Cleveland, he can deliver different results.
To the offensive line, Warren, on your website and a lot of things I see you retweet, you usually have the Browns' offensive line as one of the better ones in the NFL. Now, I don't think they're quite where they were a couple of years ago. They've had some injuries, but they found some pieces there. Right now, we're trying to figure out with Conklin being out, Jed Will's out, you slide in DeJuan Jones, but just the offensive lines in the NFL, do you still think the Browns, you view them still as, what, a top 5, maybe top 10 unit entering this season?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a better offensive line than what Deshaun Watson was playing with down in Houston. That's for sure. It was with some of those injuries, it has a step down a little bit from what it was like 2 years ago, but this is still one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. We put them in our preview book as the third best offensive line in the NFL. With some injuries, you might drop that down a little bit, but absolutely still borderline top 5 offensive line in the league for us. And I have a lot of confidence in what they're going to be able to do in terms of their protection. It's up to, again, any quarterback. We used to think that if a bad quarterback is behind a good offensive line, that quarterback, at least they got a good line, he's going to be okay. And then a good quarterback operating behind a bad offensive line is like, oh my gosh, red flags, concern. They don't have a good offensive line to protect him. How many years have we seen Patrick Mahomes perform? That offensive line is getting better, but perform in front of a bad offensive line, or Tom Brady at times in New England. Good quarterbacks can make mediocre to bad offensive lines look a lot better, but just because you have a decent offensive line does not mean your quarterback is not going to take too much pressure or have a bad sack to pressure ratio. Deshaun Watson has to perform and execute better behind this line. Even though it's a good line, it's not going to be the saving grace for the Cleveland Browns in 2024. Now, hopefully it's going to help a slightly worsened rushing attack, because we have to wait till Nick Chubb gets back, and we're working with Jerome Ford, and there are positives to Ford's game, but he's not Nick Chubb. And so that offensive line is going to have to do a little bit better job on the run blocking side of things. But that's really where it's going to come into play, in my opinion.
SharpFootballAnalysis.com. Warren Sharp joining us. You want to bet? You want to get ready for your fantasy football? It's all there. The football preview is out. Use that code Browns when you purchase that on SharpFootballAnalysis.com. Got to go to the defense real quick with you, Warren. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. We know there's got to be some metrics from him that just stand above the rest. And I know Micah Parsons is very good, and TJ Watt and Nick Bosa, they're all there. But obviously we're biased because we're here in Cleveland about Myles. Just talk about his season last year, winning that Defensive Player of the Year, and you think there's a good chance he can go for 2 in a row?
Yeah, there is. I mean, he was second in pass rush win rate, which is an ESPN metric. He finished 4th in pressure rate among eligible pass rushers. He's obviously a freak. He's a 1-of-1. You look at him, he looks like a freak. You put him out on the field, he plays like a freak. He's a great player to have defensively on any roster, and so the Browns are fortunate to have him there. Jim Schwartz certainly knows how to incorporate him into this defense and unleash him on opposing quarterbacks. And look, we know sacks are a big factor. Getting pressure also alters the efficiency of a quarterback's production. Pressures lead to sacks, but pressures alone are still a great metric. Some guys record a lot of sacks on little pressures, and that's likely to regress. Myles Garrett just delivers high pressure and high sacks in a truly masterful manner. And so I think he's definitely one of the best defensive players in the NFL. I think that's going to continue this year. You guys probably know that you benefited a lot on that side of the ball by the quarterbacks that you played.
Sure.
You had some very fortunate situations. Like you're going up against Joe Burrow, but it's his first game after the calf injury. You're going up against Trevor Lawrence, but he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. You don't have to play CJ Stroud, who's out with a concussion during the regular season. You don't play Kyler Murray. You're playing Clayton Tune. You're not playing Joe Burrow. In the next game, you're playing Jake Browning. You're getting Trevor Siemian, who's a backup. You're getting Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett and Russell Wilson. All these guys have been traded or cut by their teams in the last 8 months. So you guys got the good fortune. You're playing at home. You're great at home. You're going on the road. It's not quite as strong. You got to bring that consistency. I think that's what this defense needs to improve upon, is just the consistency against the good quarterbacks and against, on the road as well. You take advantage and utterly embarrass bad quarterbacks, especially if you get them at home. And the offense doesn't really have to do much except not lose the game in those situations. You're able to win games with your defense when you're playing bad quarterbacks. And that's a great asset for a team to have, because most teams in the NFL can't just have their offense basically do nothing and let the defense win the game for them. But you've got to, if you're looking to make a run and go to the playoffs and win games in the playoffs, you're not going to be playing bad quarterbacks, and you're probably going to be playing on the road. And so you're going to need to improve in those areas in 2024 if you're looking to take this team to the next level, which I think is the coaching staff and Deshaun Watson. Like, there's a ton of pressure on these guys to do just that.
Well, and especially this season, Warren, with the out of conference, again, we're knowing Lamar, Burrow back healthy and all that, but we got Tua, we've got Patrick Mahomes, we start with Dak. I mean, we don't quite have that same run, exactly what you're talking about. Final thing here, Warren, you've been so gracious with your time. Great stuff. Just your overall outlook on the Cleveland Browns. You kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. We've got win totals somewhere around 9.5, somewhere around 10. People believe we can get back to the playoffs. Warren, I got to tell you, that schedule scares me, man, especially on some of those where it's a lot of road games, just where exactly you find yourself in these stretches where we go Chiefs and Dolphins and then right into the Bengals. Just your overall outlook on the Cleveland Browns this season, and do you expect them to be a playoff team?
I do expect them to be a playoff team, but it's just so many ifs that hinge around Deshaun Watson that it's difficult to have any high level of confidence in terms of betting on this team from a futures perspective or these receivers, because you just don't know what you're going to get. Now, fortunately, you do have another decent backup quarterback in Jameis Winston, even though you lost Joe Flacco. So he's a gunslinger. He's had his time in the NFL. I think this offense will still function with him in there. We saw what Stefanski could do without Deshaun Watson, with a myriad of different quarterbacks there last season. Your schedule's so interesting because there's these pockets of tough games and then there's these pockets of winnable games. Mm-hmm. And so the key is start off the season getting a little bit of momentum. I really feel like for you guys this season, momentum is more important than anything. It's ironic. I've got a stat here that I wrote about in the preview book that Deshaun Watson gets so much better in the second half of games compared to the first half of games. And I'm not sure what it is, whether it's like the scripting of all these 11 personnel plays that they're trying to incorporate, or it's his comfort level. And once the team is doing okay, he plays a little bit better. But in the first half of games, he averages 5.2 yards per attempt. In the second half of games, he averages 8.6. In the first half of games, he's got minus 0.37 EPA. In the second half, it's plus 0.07. If they can start the season if they can improve on their first half performance in these games and they can improve on the way they start the season, I feel like from a mental perspective, maybe with Deshaun Watson is more important than with other quarterbacks, but you've got to really get him feeling good early in these games and early in the season. And then you can build up a little bit of momentum. So you have this nice pocket where you've got the Giants and you've got the Raiders and you've got the Commanders games where these are winnable games, even though a couple are on the road. I know in a 4-week stretch, you've got 3 road games there to start the season. But these are some winnable games on your schedule before you're playing some of the more upper echelon teams. If you can get through that first 5 weeks or so with a 3-2 record, with a 4-1 record, something like that, I think this team is playoff bound. I think this team has that upside, and especially if Deshaun Watson is getting his feet under him and settling down a little bit. But there's so many questions. I mean, now you've got like his practice time and his shoulder and all these other things that we weren't even thinking about last season. We were just like, perform better, Deshaun. And now it's this offseason surgery, and it's the injury, and it's the rest days. And, once he gets out there, he's not going to have time for any of that, right? Like, right. Just go. We're going to have to get execution out of you. So that's why with this team, when I look at it big picture, I do believe tough schedule, but a playoff caliber team. I think you guys get there this season. I think you've got enough on the offense, on the defense, with the line, with the run game. If Chubb comes back relatively soon, that this team is going to be playoff bound. But Deshaun Watson will take this team if he can perform. I don't think he's going to perform like he did in Houston. I just think that that's a pipe dream that's never going to happen again. But if he can perform like even slightly above average, then this team can win multiple playoff games. But if he's performing below average, or he's performing like he did last season, this team will not make the playoffs. So it's just wild how, everybody knows that a quarterback is going to drive your production, but you're not asking these questions for any other quarterback in the league. You pretty much have expectations for what a quarterback is going to give you. Pick a team, it doesn't matter. Bad quarterback, okay, this team's probably not going to do well. Decent quarterback, they could be borderline playoff team. Great quarterback, obviously the Chiefs, like I say, pencil them into the AFC Championship game as long as Patrick Mahomes stays healthy. But with Deshaun Watson, even if he stays healthy and plays all 17 games, the range of outcomes here are all over the map, making it very difficult to predict where this team goes.
Warren, I've said top 12. It'd be nice if he was top 5 or, top 8. I think a top 12 quarterback is all I'm asking for out of Deshaun Watson, and hopefully that's enough.
Playoffs.
Right. I agree with you, right?
Top 12 absolute playoffs, and maybe even hosting a playoff game.
Yeah.
I don't know. This division, there's question marks in Cincinnati. There's obviously question marks in Pittsburgh. Baltimore is taking a step back, in my opinion, from a personnel perspective.
I agree.
This is a winnable division if you get top 12 performance out of Deshaun Watson.
No, I agree with you 100%. Ryan, our producer, has got a question.
I got to throw one quick fantasy question at you, Warren, before we get you out
Ryan
of here.
loves his
I got
fantasy.
my fantasy draft this Saturday coming up. I got the number 2 pick. I'm assuming CMC's going 1. I want to go running back. Your thoughts on Breece Hall versus Bijan Robinson?
He's all on that, Warren.
Wow. Okay. So number 1, you've got to DM my guy. Well, actually, he doesn't accept DMs. You got to ask my guy, Rich Reed.
We're going to get Rich. I'm going to DM you, Warren, and we're going to get hooked up. I can't wait to have Rich on. Brian's just going to ask Rich to come in and do his draft.
Rich will help out perfectly. But what I can tell you about Bijan Robinson, I did take Bijan's rushing touchdown prop over. Like, I'm more of a betting guy, not a fantasy guy. I took his prop. It was 6.5. I want to say 6.5 rushing touchdowns. I took that over. The thing about the offense of the Atlanta Falcons, they're going to get into the red zone a lot more than they have in the past. And down inside the red zone last year, Desmond Ridder was more of a running quarterback. He took 5 rushing touchdowns away from those running backs. And so I think you're going to get more rushing touchdowns from Bijan Robinson. I also think he's going to get utilized in the pass game because Kirk Cousins is not running the football here. He's not like Desmond Ridder. He's an older quarterback coming back from an Achilles tear. He is going to be handing the ball off there. Now, Aaron Rodgers, ironically, the same exact type of situation. I love the backup running back, the rookie that they drafted there in New York. I think he could potentially be a stud. And I actually took some odds on him to have the most rushing yards of any running back in the NFL. But that being said, I do think when you get down into the 10-yard line, you're going to have more of a timeshare with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, whereas I think Breece Hall is going to be getting more of those carries for the New York Jets. So that's a tough call for me, and I'm sure that there is the right answer for that, but I don't want to lead you astray. I have no answer. I do not know. I have dropped out of all my fantasy leagues. I focused only on betting and analytics, and I've stopped my interest in fantasy simply because I used to put so much time and effort in just like a couple of leagues there. And now I can't devote any extra time to it.
Well, it's Warren. It's funny because we just got the betting in Ohio last year. And so last football season was our first one. I was like you, I was in 7 leagues and all over. And now I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I'd rather just put $50 on a Sunday down and pick my game here and pick a prop here, because every single week it's something different. And it's much more exciting on that side of it as well, which is great. So
yeah, I used to do, I did the DFS thing. I did the leagues thing, and that was all fun. But, now it just took up a little bit too much of my focus, and anything I do, I put a ton of research into it. And, I'm not going to just half-ass any of it. So I'm spending too much time grinding on those types of things, and it's taken away from, some of the things that I'm actually better at. Like I'm fantasy is a skill. You can get lucky, of course, and you need to get lucky drafting players that stay healthy and good players, etc. But there are guys that are obviously more skilled than others. My expertise wasn't there. It was on the betting side. And so I had fun with it, but I pivoted, and I'm not looking back. So Rich is your man on that for sure.
We'd love to have him on.
Info.
I can't, Warren, if you got one, a favorite bet for the Browns this season, either player prop, do you like their over-under? We saw one that we ran through the other day that somebody actually really liked them to hit the under 2.5 divisional wins. And we kind of took that as a shot, but I understand it's a tough division. We have Myles Garrett sacks that are in double digits. Obviously, we're waiting to see on Nick Chubb, Watson. Is there any Browns bet out there that you really like for the season out there for all of our fans to maybe jump on?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
I've got like 22 different futures that I've bet, and none of them have anything to do with the Browns.
Okay.
The closest thing is an adjacent team in your division.
Sure.
And one bet that I took was, you're not going to like to hear this, but Lamar Jackson's rushing yards over this season. Lamar Jackson, even when he's missed 5 weeks, 2 of the last 3 seasons, he's had 760 plus rushing yards. His rushing yards prop, what did I get it at here? I'm trying to find it. What the exact line? I want to say it was like 670.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you got a margin there too. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Where was it? Man, I don't know why I'm not pulling it up. At any rate, he was exceeding it even when he was taking 5 games off with injury. He lost like 20 to 25 pounds, according to him. He's going to be faster. His production when he was scrambling with the football has dropped off monumentally over the last several years. I mean, he was up at like 11.6 yards per carry when he scrambled with the football back in 2019, down to like 6.2 last season. It was a massive drop off. He was much worse last year when he was scrambling with the football than the prior couple of years. This offensive structure, with Todd Monken, they're going to be throwing a lot of pass attempts, but I expect him to be scrambling more this year. And if he's more nimble and faster, I think that yards per carry average is going to go up, and he's going to be able to top this even if he misses several games with injury. And the other thing is, this team, the Baltimore Ravens, they are not going 13-4 this year. They're not getting close to 13-4. And that means they're going to be in more situations. I believe the stat is they had only 85 plays in the entire second half of games where they were losing by any margin. When they were trailing by any margin, they only ran 85 plays in the entire second half last year. That's not going to happen. That means they're going to be passing the ball more in the second half of games. That means there's more opportunities for him to scramble. So I'm not expecting, and you also got the upside of designed runs. Now that you have Derrick Henry back there, I think defenses are going to have to key in on stopping Derrick Henry a little bit more. Could produce some things when Lamar Jackson pulls the ball out of his belly and runs down the field with it. But I just think a lot of upside is going to come on Lamar Jackson scramble. So I know you guys don't want me to say anything positive about Lamar Jackson on the Browns.
I've already put the Maloik on him, Warren. I'm with you. I'm like, every year I'm like, no. Ravens will take a step back. No. And all Lamar does is but I think they're on this trend of like good year, bad year, good year, bad year. So they had a good year last year. So maybe a little bit of a down year.
They're going to come back. And as long as Lamar's healthy, they're still going to be in this division and competitive.
Yeah.
But they're just not winning as many games as they were last year. And the number I got was 675 and a half. So anything close to that, I think Lamar Jackson's going to exceed.
Love it. Warren, really appreciate your time. Again, sharpfootballanalysis.com. Code Browns for $5 to get the preview. It's everything that you need. The 60% winning on the game totals for over a decade. It's everything that you need, Warren. We really appreciate it. I'm going to get you with Rich, and we'd love to have you on again during the season, all right?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
There he goes. I love Warren. He's so good. I love following him on Twitter. Sharp Football. It's that kind of stuff, man. It's the analytics. And, man, how interesting was that about basically the rock and the hard place of, like, what Deshaun Watson wants to do versus what Kevin Stefanski is good at? It's not meshing. But even what Warren was talking about there, to not, like, almost understand, Ryan, to almost go to Deshaun Watson, and what the stats Warren was saying is, Deshaun, you're even better in 13 personnel. You're even better with multiple tight ends out on the field, multiple running backs. Let's shift that way. And I would have to imagine that is just the hook of today's NFL. Wide receivers aplenty and throwing. And if that's really what Watson wants to do now, can I give you a son of positivity out of Warren? Again, great stuff with Warren. So good. Do you think they could just default to that? Like, I truly wonder. This is something I was thinking about when we were talking to Warren. Is you started back out with Watson saying, all right, man, we're going to run 11. We're going to put all these receivers out there. And then if it goes bad, say, all right, we tried it your way. Let's come back to this way. Now, that's a massive shift. That's not an easy thing to do in the middle of the season. But you go back to what Flacco was doing. What did he have, Ryan? He was multiple tight ends, and they were throwing to David Njoku. Like, now I miss Harrison Bryant. Don't you? Like, I sit there, I'm like, man, he should hold on to Harrison Bryant. They're going all in with Deshaun Watson, but that stuff with Warren, again, if you missed it, go back to our new app, Big Play, download it, YouTube to rewind that. You can always check it on the Twitter side of things too. That's the stuff I found the most interesting, man. That's the stuff right there where you're biting on and saying, dude, this is what Stefanski does well, and we know it does well, and if we could just prove to Watson that this is the system that we need to run here, I guess, like, why not just go to Deshaun and be like, dude, sit down and we're doing this? Like, I can't piss off your quarterback, I guess, but that stuff was super interesting to me from Warren.
Yeah, I mean, what a conversation. That was amazing. Yeah, it was so interesting. Right. You have what Kevin Stefanski has been great at, and he mentioned that's what Kevin Stefanski, how he got the Browns job. He was so efficient with his personnel packages, and now you have a quarterback in Deshaun Watson who in his Clemson days, in his Houston days, is used to those 3 wide sets, but the numbers he was saying to us prove that the Browns are much better when they're running that 12 personnel. You got multiple tight ends out there, and it's like you have to find this balance, whether it's a mixture of personnel packages or you're able to lean into one or the other. But I mean, ultimately, it comes down to, like, we've seen Kevin Stefanski make it work with so many quarterbacks. Like, is it truly not viable to just get Deshaun Watson to play well in those packages?
I mean, it probably comes back to a level of comfortability more than anything, where you sit there and you say, okay, this, like, if he walks up and he sees the receivers and he's like, all right, man, this is like what I like to do, versus not, like Warren said, when he was at Clemson, when he was at Houston, that's like the system that he runs. You want to know what else? It just kind of, the allure of just going to trade for him, when in reality, if you were to sit down and say this actually might not work. And I'm not trying to bring this back to a Baker Mayfield conversation or anything like that, but I get it. You had a franchise quarterback, all the off the field stuff. He was there. You got to go get him. But when in reality, if you would have sat back and understood that maybe these things don't quite go together, and if it took you this time to figure that out, now's the crunch time, right? Where do you sit there and you say, we're going to go all in with what Watson wants to do? We're going to go 11. And then what are you asking yourself, right? You're asking yourself, Kevin Stefanski's got to be that freaking good. He's just going to have to be that damn good that he's going to have to flip what he does on a head, and he's going to have to maybe bring in Ken Dorsey and bring in the right people to flip. Doesn't that go back to Ken Dorsey now? Isn't that, now we're following all this stuff, man. Now you're getting it. That we got to flip what we do for him. That is the only course of action at this point, is not. Now, let's say you flip it, you run the spread, goes bad. You have 2 options. You either come back with Deshaun Watson and go, tried it your way, we're going this way now. And we're going to force you to be this kind of guy. Or we'll go find a quarterback that is going to fit what we do here. Right? Like, I think if they would look at it objectively, which, again, it was hard to do at that point because you were just blinded by the draft, or blinded by being able to make this trade. Maybe it's just a reality that Watson and Stefanski don't fit.
I think it's very possible.
And it's not that they don't like each other. It's not about a personal. It's just what Stefanski does versus what Deshaun Watson does doesn't fit.
I think the sample size that we've had of the amount of quarterbacks we've seen, and especially with how good Joe Flacco was in the offense, I think the sample size is enough to us to come to a logical hypothesis that, yes, it might, quite literally, might not work.
Now, can I give you a little sense of positivity on that? You're going to stick with Stefanski, right?
Yes.
Right? Good. And that's not me wishing Watson out the door here. But just know that that's not something where I guess my optimism on that would be, this is crazy. It's almost like easier to replace a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like if I know Kevin Stefanski is that good, then you can find me a quarterback to thrive in that type of system.
I mean, we did it off the couch
We
last
did it
year.
off the couch last year. Did it off the couch last year. Man, that was such a good. We're going to have to get Warren on again. We're going to have to get him. He's so good. I know he does a lot of interviews. He's all over the place. I'm getting the football preview right now. And by the way, too, and you did the work. You pulled it up. You want to pull the graphic up? Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ryan did such a good job of pulling the graphic up there for Warren Sharp's football preview. So, again, you see it there. $5 for Browns fans. You go right now. You go there. There's a promo code placed right here. Coupon code Browns. All cap, apply. $5.
Yeah, that's nuts.
$5 right now. Look at that stuff. And then beyond that, you really want to get into it, Ryan? They have their full season packages for all the betting, college, pros, all that kind of stuff. It's on this website here. A $100 better with Warren just last season made over $8,000. If you were a $100 better,
jeez,
that starts with just 100 on one, so on and so forth, you'd be over $8,000 last season betting with Warren. And like I said, 17 years they've had one losing season when it comes to the totals?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's pretty good, man. SharpFootballAnalysis.com. Go follow him on Twitter, Sharp Football. I know a lot of Browns fans do. I'm a big fan of Warren and the work that he does, so I really appreciate that, man. I'm buying. I feel bad. I should have bought it prior, but now that I got this deal, hell yeah, I'm going to buy it. Get that PDF. Just sit there at night. Just scroll on through. It's going to be awesome. Check it out, SharpFootballAnalysis.com. I could talk another hour about everything that he said. Let's do this. Let's catch our break. Let's reset here. When we come back, we'll get to the grid. We got the morning update. We got guards coming up. I wish I had it for baseball, but Warren's analytics on the baseball today. Guard day game for the guards. So we'll get all that coming up. Hour two upon us. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here in Big Play.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just, that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. You saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky
All right, welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Drop us a follow on Twitter X. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitch, Instagram, and the brand spanking new Big Play app.
Yes, sir.
Where you're going to be able to just get that Warren Sharp interview right in its own, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, dude, that's so good with Warren. Let's see. Big Play interviews. Josh Gordon, DJ Burns, James Laurinaitis, Aaron Donald, Andre Reed, Jordan Schultz, Field Yates, Stephen Kwan, Travion Henderson, Jack Sawyer. Dude, they get them all there with Bobby. By the way, Bobby daily now, 12:30.
Yes.
Check him out there. I joined Drennan last night, which was great. Our show up, all there. Big Play app. It is free. Download it. You get that Warren Sharp interview and all that you need there. Ryan's got all that you need with the morning update. Please take it away, Ryan.
Alrighty, well, the Guardians fall to the New York Yankees last night, 8-1. Joey Cantillo on the mound for the Guards. He goes 4 innings, 6 hits, 7 earned runs. Guardians are 73-53, still lead the AL Central, Matt, but just by 2.5 games.
All right, we got to get it today. Got to get it today. You got Garrett Cole on the hill for them. Do we got football tonight? It is Thursday. Let's go. I just saw that. Indy Cincy, Bears Chiefs.
Yes.
Let's go. Get some bets on that. Let's go. All right, to baseball today, 105. They're a huge favorite because it's Garrett Cole versus Gavin Williams. Now, that being said, Garrett Cole's been hurt this year, but, man, dude, is he not back on, man? What was it his last start or the start prior that he was just electric? His last 2 starts. Oh, my God. Okay. I'll feel bad. His last 2 starts, 6 5/3, 6 innings, and then 5 1/3. He's given up 1 run in 11 1/3 innings with 18 strikeouts. I think Garrett Cole might be back. Now, that being said, I need Gavin Williams to show up today. Scrap this one on out, man. Last night, okay, and it sucks because they had to leave Cantillo out there. That's fine. I'm not reading into last night. Lost. Okay, just try to go win this series today. Try to do what you can. You got to start Gavin Williams in this. And if Gavin is on, man, like he's either feast or famine, right? 5 ERA, but he's win-loss in his last 3. In that win, when he beat Minnesota, 6 innings, 1 run. Other than that, you give up 5 and 6 earned runs to the Brewers and Baltimore, a good team. If Gavin's on, you're going to have a shot today. That's all I ask. I discard last night. I hate seeing Cantillo get beat around like that, but it is what it is. Get after it today, and we'll see. We'll get to our bets a little bit later.
Alrighty, well, ESPN's Ben Solak ranked all 32 coaching staffs in the NFL.
Okay.
Matt, I'm not sure if you saw the article.
I didn't click on it because I knew I wanted you to bring it up. Okay.
Where the Browns slotted, and this was, of course, considering the head coach and both coordinators.
I was going to ask. Okay, so it's coordinators and head coach. Now, that being said, you got to rule out Ken Dorsey in this. He's an offensive coordinator by stature alone. Jim Schwartz has got to be a top 5 DC at this point right now. Maybe put a little sauce on that.
I would agree.
Kevin Stefanski, top 10 coach. He's the freaking coach of the year.
I would agree.
6th.
Well, Matt, you are higher than Ben Solak. He put the Browns at 13.
What?
In his list of ranking the coaching staffs in the NFL. Would you like the
there.
write-up?
Yep. No, because I want to do the ones ahead of them, okay? I need a list. I need a pen.
Stand by, please.
Bye.
First day of school.
Tis the season. You know, I had a backpack that lasted me 3 years of high school and 4 years of college. I just got rid of it last year.
Oh.
My wife is a gift. She was like, listen, I know you love that backpack, but it's time for a new one. Yep. So, RIP to that one. All right. Okay, here we go. And this is in no order. I just need to write it down. I'm going to go Chiefs. Do you want me to do the ones that I think are ahead of them, and we'll compare notes? You want to do it that way?
Sure.
Is it easier than you scrolling through it? Yeah. KC, I'm going to say they had the Rams. I'm going to say they had the Ravens. Better coaching staffs. San Fran. I'm going to try to go to division. Okay. It's definitely not Seattle. It's definitely not Arizona. I'll listen to the Rams. I already have them. San Francisco. AFC South. It's not the Falcons. It better not be the Buccaneers. There's no way that it's the Panthers, and there's no way it's the Saints. All right, NFC North. I'll give you Green Bay. I will give you Detroit. It's not the Bears. I'm going to put Minnesota maybe, but I'm not buying that. Okay, NFC East. It should not be the Eagles. I'll say that. It shouldn't be, and there's no way that it's Dallas, and it's not Washington, and I doubt very highly that it's the Giants. Okay, AFC East. Not the Patriots, not the Jets. I'm going to put Miami with Minnesota as a maybe, and I'm going to do this for you. I know that they put Buffalo ahead, which is bull crap, okay? That is utter bull crap, but I know that they put Buffalo ahead of them. In the North, I gave you the Ravens. They put the Steelers ahead of them, didn't they?
I don't know. Did they?
Yep. I know they did. And yeah, it's not Zach Taylor. AFC South. I can't put DeMeco Ryans. I can't. That's too not enough. I don't think it's the Colts. I don't think it's Jacksonville. And it's not Tennessee. AFC West. I already gave you the Chiefs. They'll put Harbaugh. My ass.
Jimmy.
My ass. It's not the Raiders. Did God help me if they put Sean Payton and the Broncos ahead, but I don't think they did. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8. So I got 9. Something's not jiving, man. I don't know what it is.
Well, let's go down the list. Number 12, the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott, Joe Brady, and Bobby Babich.
Okay.
Number 11, the Indianapolis Colts.
No!
Shane Steichen.
No!
Jim Bob Cooter.
No!
And Gus Bradley.
Okay.
At number 10,
I'm not yelling at you, Ryan.
the Minnesota Vikings.
Again, I had
Kevin
him on my
O'Connell,
maybe.
Wes Phillips, and Brian Flores.
Flores is a very good defensive coordinator. I get it. Okay, I'll live with Minnesota. I'm not that angry.
At number 9, the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah,
Mike
I had him on
McDaniel,
me.
Frank Smith, and Anthony Weaver.
I like Anthony Weaver, yeah.
Number 8, the Green Bay Packers.
Yep, I
Matt
had him.
LaFleur,
Yep.
Adam Stanovich, and Jeff Hafley.
Yep. Jeff Hafley, forgot former Ohio State guy.
Number 7, the Pittsburgh Yinzers. Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, and Terrell Austin.
Okay.
Number 6, the Houston Texans. DeMeco Ryans, Bobby Slowick, and Matt Burke. Good last name. I take it you don't agree with that. Would you like me to keep going?
Sure.
At number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, and Zach Orr. Number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan. Interesting, they have no offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator, Nick Sorensen.
Hey, former Cleveland Brown.
Number 3, the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay, Mike LaFleur, and Chris Shula.
Okay.
Number 2, the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. And coming in at number 1, to no surprise, the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, and Steve Spagnuolo.
Kansas City is, yes, very clearly number 1. How? I'm not, you know what? That's a bullshit list. Not even worrying about it. Don't even worry about it. 1 year at Houston, and I get that Bobby Slowick was up and about, and everybody wanted him to be their head coach, as the offensive coordinator, all that kind of stuff. My ass.
What about your ass?
I shouldn't even care. I shouldn't even get that angry about it. I really shouldn't. The Colts won. The Colts? What? No. Don't even worry about it. That list is clickbait bullshit garbage. That's
wow,
what
you're
that
calling
is.
out Ben.
Bring him on the show, and I'll tell him that to his face.
Alrighty, we're moving on.
Hey, who is dead last?
I gotta pull back up.
Sorry.
Who do you think would be dead last?
It should be Dennis Allen. It should be. I'd have to look at coordinators, though.
Number 32 is the Las Vegas Raiders.
I see. That's a shot. I like Antonio
Commanders
Pierce.
are 31.
They just hired Dan Quinn.
Patriots are 30.
I don't buy that either.
And New Orleans Saints 29.
I'm saying that I don't buy that list, man. I would take DeMeco Ryans any day. And again, I don't know the coordinators per se. I'd take DeMeco Ryans. I'd take Dan Quinn any single day over Dennis Allen.
Yeah, that's what they did. D'Amico Ryans? Are you talking about Antonio Pierce?
No, I'm sorry, not D'Amico Ryans. Gerard Mayo, former linebacker
okay.
on his team. No, Gerard Mayo. I'm sorry, Gerard Mayo.
Yes.
Gerard Mayo up there in New England. I'd take Gerard Mayo any day of the week over Dennis Allen. I'd take Dan Quinn any day of the week over Dennis Allen. This just proves, continuing that point, that list is horse crap. That don't even worry about it.
Alrighty.
Sorry, I
well,
didn't mean to get all worked up like that this morning.
it happens. You're passionate about football. I like that about you. Anyways, Sean Payton announced that rookie Bo Nix will be the Broncos starter
Rightly
week 1.
so.
This means Nix is the first rookie to start the regular season opener since John Elway
There
did
it
it
is.
back in 1983.
I mean, this is a giant, growth year, obviously, for Bo Nix, but you see what he did in the preseason. I'm a big Bo Nix guy. I'm a believer in Bo Nix. I think he's going to be pretty good. I'd have taken him over McCarthy. I wouldn't have taken him over Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, but I like... Ooh, see, here's a slice for me. Who would I rather have, Penix or Bo Nix? I like to use some Michael Penix, too.
Michael Penix.
Probably Penix. Starting him's the right thing, but I also think that Sean Payton is a good enough coach. And also, okay, so here's two ways to slice this pie, right? Number one, are you going to put him out there and put him in the hard situations and say you are going to sink or swim? Like we're diving into the deep end here and you got to figure this out, or are we going to ease you into this and dumb down the offense? You're afforded to do the second one when you're Sean Payton, because you know they're not going to fire you after this year, right? You know that you're good. So ease it in for Bo. Make it easy for him. And no, you're going to lose a lot of games. That's fine. But if you can ease things in for the brand of football that I think Bo Nix needs to play, ease him in. He is going to have to be one of these, and I guess all quarterbacks have to be to a point. He's got to be one of these cerebral, I pick the defense apart guys. When he was at Oregon, his completion percentage was through the roof because it was short stuff, and they took advantage of. They just had Troy Franklin and guys that were really good that got open. Not quite the same in the NFL. Ease him in. Let him learn these defenses. Let him learn it, pick up. And no, we'll lose some games, but that doesn't hurt anybody. Sean Payton's not going anywhere, and he can still be your guy in the future. So it's not shock Zach Wilson's ass. So, I mean, it kind of is what it is. Do you like me doing the show with a pen in my hand? Does it add anything to the show?
Yes, you need glasses.
Just not think smarter?
Yes.
Well, speaking of glasses, Danny used a video of me to promote Locked On Cavs when I used to wear glasses.
There you go.
It's a bad video. It's not good. I did Locked On Cavs with Danny yesterday, by the way. Maybe I'll keep the
I'll
pen.
have to go listen.
Does it help us look a little smarter here on the show?
Yes. Well,
we
do
had
need
Warren.
That. We certainly need that.
We need
yes,
that.
Warren
right.
was a big upgrade.
Yeah, Warren was a big upgrade for the intelligence in the show here. But we need the smarts right now, buddy.
Hold on.
What?
We got one more.
Oh, you got one more story. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's a little trivia, too, to end the morning update here. Lastly, Cincinnati's Ellie De La Cruz became just the 5th player in MLB history to join the 20-homer, 60 stolen base club. So you know where my question is, Matt. Can you give me the 4 other players to do so?
Okay, I would say Ricky Henderson, but I don't know if he ever hit 20 home runs.
Well, Ricky Henderson not only did it, he did it 3 times.
Okay, that's pretty good on him. Okay. This is kind of out there. Did
Wow.
Barry Bonds do it?
No, but
No.
how about this?
Okay.
2 of the other 3 players that you need, both played for the Reds.
Ken Griffey Jr.
No.
Whoa, really?
I've never heard of these names, so I'm not sure but you know more than I do.
Well, just give them to me then if you don't know.
Eric Davis and Joe Morgan.
Oh, Joe Morgan. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Well, there's one other player, and he did it very recently. In fact, he did it last year. Don't think too hard. I see the smoke coming out of your ears.
I don't know who did it last year. Jazz Chisholm? I have no idea.
Ronald Acuna.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Yeah, good call. So that's the whole list, right? Like with Ricky doing it 3 times, right?
Right.
That's pretty impressive. Ellie's good, man. He's a really good player.
All right, well,
unfortunately, those Cincinnati Reds will have to trade him away eventually.
Yep.
That'll happen. All right, the pen.
You ready for it? We
Let's
got to
go.
be ready to follow us.
Dude, wouldn't you think that Warren would just ace this too?
Oh, he'd probably do it in
No
5
players?
seconds.
All right, this is an important day for us here on the show. The penultimate day, if you will. If we get it today and we get it tomorrow, there's a giveaway coming your way here from the show.
All right, we need
It's your coffee first look. Go.
All right, 10,000 career passing yards. We could go Dak
You can
Prescott.
just go Troy if you want. Good old Troy.
Saints, we could obviously go Drew Brees.
Yeah, he doesn't work for any of those other ones.
In Green Bay, we could obviously go Aaron.
Right, because Brett Favre works over there. Actually, okay, so here, go ahead. Here's our twist.
Okay.
Brett Favre works for both of those. Because he started in Atlanta, then he went to the Vikings later. So let's come up with a one here. Which one do you feel less better?
Am I tripping making this up? Did Greg Jennings play for Minnesota?
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Now, I keep getting my head away from Cordell Patterson because he works for the Vikings and the Falcons, but that's not what we need here. Okay?
Okay, can we take Green Bay Falcons then?
Yeah,
Let's
Green
say
Bay
Brett Favre.
Falcons. See, now I'm getting screwed up by Clay Matthews because Clay Matthews, the second, played in Atlanta, but Clay Matthews, the third, did not. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Donald Driver, Jimmy Graham.
Did Randall Cobb play for the Vikings?
I don't remember. I don't know.
I want to say he did a year, but
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay. Obviously, Aaron Jones doesn't work yet.
Correct.
Demarius Randall came here. I don't know where he went over there. Morgan Burnett's former safety that came here, but I don't think that works. Green Bay.
Donald Driver?
That's what I thought. I don't know. And again, people are watching this going, Brett Favre. We know. We just don't know where we want to put him yet. Was it? What am I missing? Wasn't there some move? The Vikings in the past? Or no, you know what? I'm thinking of Hawkinson. I'm thinking of TJ
Can we
Hawkins.
come back to that, get some of the grid filled
Yeah,
out?
that's fine. We can do some of the other grid. All right. Saints, I always bring up old friend Ted Ginn Jr., but I don't think he played for either one of those teams.
No, he did not. Did Jared Cook play for the Vikings?
Yes.
Right?
Right?
Did he?
I feel like he's played everywhere, but I that sounds about right to me.
Well, I don't want to just...
I know.
rip
We
it.
should probably just let's just keep an open mind here on some of this stuff. Dude, this is all right, we just need to get one to get off the schneid here.
Yeah.
We just got to get one to get off the schneid here. All right, Matt Schaub played for the Falcons, but I don't think he played for any of those other teams. Adrian Peterson. Oh, doesn't he work there?
Vikings, Saints.
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
does.
Adrian Peterson does. Okay.
Brandon Cooks never played for the Vikings.
No. Percy Harvin?
Did he play for the Cowboys?
I don't remember. I want to say yeah, but I don't remember. Not good enough to rip it there.
Did Christian Ponder ever play for the Cowboys?
No.
Andy Dalton never played for the Vikings. Sam Darnold never played for... Or he's on the Vikings now.
Yeah. Oh, no. I almost said Randy Moss, but he didn't go to Dallas.
T.O. never played for the Vikings or Falcons.
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
Oh, wait, does Chris Carter work?
I don't know.
I think he does.
For Vikings, Cowboys?
I don't know. Oh man, he was with Philly. It's one of those ones I can picture Chris Carter's jersey on the freaking Cowboys, but I don't know for sure. Don't know for sure.
Jared Allen never played for the Cowboys.
No, I don't think so.
Michael Gallup never played for the Vikings. Dalton Schultz never played for the Vikings. Oh, man.
I know.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
It's okay. It's all right. We'll stay positive here. Stay positive. I mean, we again, I think we're circling names here.
I just want to like rip Brett Favre to get a square done.
All right, but again, what do you feel better about?
Maybe the Vikings.
All right, let's just start ripping like Falcons players like Michael Turner,
Roddy
White.
Julio never played.
Julio never went to any of those other spots.
Aiden
Cordell
Hurd.
Patterson.
No.
Does Cordell Patterson not work for any of these teams?
Did he play for the Saints, or am I just making that up?
I thought he played for the Saints too, but I don't know for sure. It sounds right, but I don't know. Green Bay, Ty Montgomery. I don't think he ever played in Minnesota or Atlanta. He went somewhere else. Again, I think the tough thing is that they've all had like quarterbacks for so long. I'm talking about Green Bay, like Kurt Banker, the backup, and all that crap, man. Tony Gonzalez didn't play at any of talking about Atlanta. Oh my God, Atlanta, the Cowboys, Dion. Okay.
How do we forget that?
I don't. I mean, again, it's just like really wasn't uber focused on it. The Falcons and the Saints.
Michael Turner, no.
And now
Jaquiz Rogers.
that's a deep pull there. I like where your head's at, but that's a deep pull. Kickers, I don't think we're going to be able to do much. Wait. Green Bay and the No, Mason Crosby. Remember, he was in Green Bay forever. Then he went to go kick somewhere else, but I don't feel super good about that. Saints Falcons are really bothering me. Do you want to rip Cordell Patterson there?
I really don't.
Okay. All right.
We just got to rip Brett Favre for one.
All right, do one. I don't care.
Which
either
one?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're struggling with both.
Oh, Brett Favre.
Favorite. All right.
Oh.
Okay. Falcon. Or yeah, we should just probably focus there. Minnesota, Dallas.
Oh, is that not Xavier Rhodes?
Did he play in Dallas?
I think.
I mean, I know he was in Minnesota. I know he was drafted there, but
Stephon Gilmore's there now.
yeah, he just got there, so he doesn't count yet. I mean, I don't have a better answer for that, so sure. Doesn't sound right to me. I don't know. This is so hard, man. This is a really tough one for us. We're over time, but I'm fine extending it just because we're this close. We're down the rabbit hole now. Dalvin Cook didn't go there. Dude. Rip Xavier Rhodes.
I don't think he works, so.
Okay. Then don't. Then rip.
This is so. No, we cannot lose on a Thursday.
Okay. Does Josh McCown work there?
Like DeMarco Murray, no. I don't think. Aaron Jones. Did he ever go to Cowboys?
Who?
Aaron Jones, no.
No.
Nelson Aguilar.
I mean, I got a deep cut of Jacob Tammy. If you really want to rip him for the Falcons and the Cowboys. Actually, you don't want to know what?
We don't need Falcons Cowboys.
Or Falcons Packers.
Who?
He's an old tight end, Jacob Tammy. And actually, I don't even like him there anymore. Now I think he's Saints. I have no idea, man. Like, again, Jimmy Graham doesn't fit.
Falcons, Saints.
Okay. Whoa, wait.
Did Jeff Okuda?
What about Teddy Bridgewater? Cowboys, Vikings.
Did he play for the Cowboys?
I thought he did. Did he not?
I don't remember it, but
I don't know.
Who
Teddy Bridgewater.
You think he played for the Cowboys?
I think so.
All right.
I don't know. I really have no idea. We got to rip something. Oh, no. This one sucks. Go down.
Give up?
Yeah.
You get roasted, I know. Joe Horn, Herschel Walker.
I forgot about Herschel Walker.
Joe Horn.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Any you want to see?
Yeah, the ones we missed. Go up. Go Packers. Go out on the middle. God.
Falcons, Saints. Morton Anderson, Joe Horn. Wade Wilson. That's funny.
Yes.
Luke McCown.
Luke McCown.
But I mean, there's like that was
a tough one. That's really hard for us, man.
And then
Morton Anderson, I guess we should have got.
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Obviously, we knew far, but we used him.
Yeah.
AJ Hawk.
Wait, for what?
Eric Metcalf for Green Bay, Atlanta.
Oh my God, I didn't know AJ Hawk went there.
Damn it, dude.
All right, go back. Final one. Vikings, Cowboys.
Randall Cunningham, Herschel Walker.
Yeah,
I just didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Matt Castle.
Fuck.
Damn.
Golly, man. Damn it.
The chat.
I know.
Herschel Zadarius, Green Bay, Minnesota.
Did Zadarius? Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
We always forget that. We let the chat down.
Yeah. Well, back at it again next week.
That's so frustrating.
I know, man. Can I let you in on a little bit too? The prize is very timely.
Is it?
Yep. Not very timely, but kind of timely.
I mean, do we? No, we can't cheat, right?
No,
Wah.
I can't tell you how depressed I am the rest of the day when we screw it up.
That
wasn't easy
one.
though, man. That was a hard one. It's not even like you could sit there and yell at us for something like that. One sucked ass.
That was
might have
been the hardest
bad.
one in a while.
All right.
Want to go right into time hop?
Yeah, I just got to do something to cleanse us here. I'm so sad. I'm so very sad.
Me too.
All right. Put that down for today, the day we really screwed the grid up. No, I'm just kidding. We'll take it on back, 22nd August. Hey, coming up, we'll get our bets going for the Guardians this afternoon, and we got to get to the bracket. That'll make me feel better. But we start. We go back 2 years ago today. Why would I care when the Carolina Panthers announced their starting quarterback? Oh, wait, Ryan, because it was Baker Mayfield, and we would face them in week 1. That whole offseason of getting rid of him and moving on, whether you're a Baker fan or not, I thought it was good drama. I thought it was really interesting and fun drama, with us playing Baker, and we won the game. So what does it matter, right? But they named their starting quarterback Baker Mayfield this day, 2022. We go back to this day, 2021. It was a late season for the NFL Top 100, but Myles Garrett was listed at 16th. I would dare say, I want to sit there and say, he'll never be that low again. But, he's going to get older. Things change, turnover, all that kind of stuff. But he was 16th in 2021. I think for at least the next couple years, there's no way he won't be in the top 15. I don't know if he'll ever be 2, or was he 3 or 2?
This year?
Yeah.
5.
5. Was he?
I think.
In the ESPN, or no, I'm sorry, the NFL top 100.
I'm pretty sure he was 5.
Hang on. I thought he was higher than that. I know, the PFN one, NFL top 100. Oh, that's right, because Tyreek Hill was number 1.
Yep.
Miles was 5. You were right. It went Mahomes, McCaffrey, Lamar, and then Tyreek at number 1. You're right. That's kind of fluky, but still. This day, 2021 preseason game, Browns-Giants, 17-13. The Browns get a win. I'll give you $1,000. You name the quarterback for the Browns. He didn't start, but he threw for the most yards,
What year?
52. 2021.
He threw for how much?
151 yards.
Wow, so he must be a scrub or something?
Yeah.
Out of the league for sure?
I'm pretty sure he is, yes.
20.
I'll tell you this. Case Keenum got the start. Okay. He threw a touchdown and interception before giving way to this quarterback.
Oh, God. No idea.
Do you remember Kyle Lauletta?
No.
Kyle Lauletta
glad
went
I didn't waste
14
much
out of
energy on
23. John Kelly, Dearness Johnson, Demetric Felton, all with carries. Davion Davis, Johnny Stanton, Kadarrell Hodge leading on the receiving side of things. And Elijah Lee, remember Malcolm Smith, the veteran that came in here? Javante Moffitt and Willie Harvey were your leading tacklers in that game. For the Giants, Mike Glennon, tall neck Glennon, got the start. I don't even know any of the other guys that were on there. David Sills had a touchdown in that. You remember David Sills?
No.
So David Sills made a name because Lane Kiffin offered him a full ride scholarship in the 8th grade to play quarterback. And I don't even remember where Lane Kiffin was at the time. So Sills goes to high school, plays as a quarterback, and he's fine. And he got to college as a quarterback, but he actually made the NFL as a receiver. I'm sorry. He was as a 7th grader. He verbally committed to play at USC. Eventually decommitted and signed a letter of intent at West Virginia. He played as a quarterback for just 1 year before moving to receiver. Transferred out, came back to West Virginia. I think went undrafted, but he's carved out an NFL career for himself as a receiver. Lane Kiffin offered Skills A scholarship to play football at USC in 2010 as a 7th grader. They gave him a non-binding verbal commitment, but he was still one of the youngest players ever to receive a scholarship from a major football program. Sports Illustrated hailed Sills as one of the greatest quarterback prospects ever entering high school. But eventually, he decommitted and, whatever, and then went to college receiver and eventually made it to the NFL. So he's got to be a good athlete. I mean, he made it to the NFL. I don't know what to tell you. This day, 2020, the first trailer for The Batman revealed. I could watch that movie every week and never get sick of it. I love it. This is a pretty big one. Let's say 2018, Urban Meyer suspended at Ohio State. This was all related to the Zach Smith spousal abuse and whether or not Urban actually knew about it. Because they got his wife. They got Shelly's texts to Zach Smith's wife saying, Urban's got to do something about this. Let me see if I can find this. Jog our memories for a second, if you will. Coaching career, Bowling Green, Ohio State, 2018. On August 1st, he was placed on paid administrative leave after reports surfaced that Meyer knew about spousal abuse allegations against assistant coach Zach Smith. After an independent investigation, Ohio Board of Trustees found that Meyer and Gene Smith did not uphold the values of the university. And on August 22nd, the board voted to suspend Meyer for the opening 3 games against Oregon State, Rutgers, and TCU. Let's see if I can click on this article to find out more. Here it is. In a news conference, he said he followed my heart, not my head, and gave Zach Smith the benefit of the doubt. Now, we all remember Zach Smith is Earl Bruce's grandson. So there was that whole thing about him being a piece of crap. But, I mean, he's Earl Bruce's grandson. We can't fire him from here. Myers said that his allegiance to his former mentor and Buckeyes coach, Earl Bruce, clouded his judgment. Ohio State released a 23-page document detailing the investigation findings. The school said in its outline that Meyer did not attempt to cover up any of Zach Smith's actions, but the findings called into questions Meyer's behavior after the story by Brett McMurphy that detailed the allegations against Smith, including a series of text messages. Meyer discussed with Associate Athletic Director whether the media could get access to Meyer's phone. When you got to start asking questions if they can get my phone, you probably are in trouble. And how to delete texts so they wouldn't be found. While it's not an admission of guilt, investigators found nonetheless concerning his first reaction to a negative piece going back years about discussing deleting the text messages and all that kind of stuff. Meyer fired Smith a month earlier after a pattern of past allegations of abuse came to light by a story printed by Brett McMurphy. Courtney Smith was Zach Smith's wife. She believed that Urban and others at the football program knew that her ex-husband was abusing her in 2015 and failed to do anything to stop. I remember that was a big conversation. Is there a place to do something? Yes. If you're a man, yes, you step in. And I not to go back on this whole thing about whatever, but it's just saying, why would you sacrifice your job, your career, your money for almost anybody? Like, I cannot put myself in that position, right? Where, and I'm not even going to do it, right? But like, Ryan, like, I'm sorry, Ryan, I love you, man, but I ain't going down for that. I'm just not. And especially for Zach Smith, who, again, is a human walking piece of trash for multiple reasons. Why would you sacrifice your program and your career to defend that guy? I'd be like, as soon as you find out, you're gone, man. I don't give a damn who your grandfather is, okay? Tell your grandfather maybe he should have raised a better grandson. How about that? Maybe you should start with that. Whatever. Dude, this was 6 years ago. I don't know why I'm still bringing it up, but it's 6 years ago. This was 7 years ago, and it feels like yesterday. Cavs traded Kyrie Irving to the Celtics this day, 2017. Yep. Should never have done it. There's things I know that I can't say on this program or in public light. Shouldn't have done it. I'm just going to say that. LeBron didn't want it done. Shouldn't have done it. And I'm sure Kyrie, who's in a different headspace now, I don't know if it's better, I would say different, and he said he looks back on it now and just how bad things went with Boston. He's probably more upset they sent him to Boston than he is that he left Cleveland. But he had a good thing going. He screwed it up. So, what did we get back? Was that not Isaiah Thomas, a 1, and Jay Crowder?
Something like that.
Kyrie was so good, man. He was so good. Irving requested the Cavs trade him, reportedly wanted to be more of a focal point, setting his playing alongside LeBron James. Following month, on August 22nd of 2017, they traded him to Boston for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and the pick that eventually got you, Colin Sexton. So if you want, that's right, because there's the tree of Colin Sexton, then led to Donovan Mitchell and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but that was also a really hard spot for Kobe Altman to come into because David Griffin was gone, and they pulled the trigger. This day, 2014, Mark Steiner reporting that a Kevin Love trade involving the Cavs and another team is being discussed. Got here, and you just always wanted... Wait, was that... No, he wasn't here yet. No, that was the trade to get him, right? When did he come to the Cavs? We'll do that in tomorrow's time. How they got him tomorrow in 2014. So there you go. So that little primer for that. I should probably put in there. Would be traded to the Cavs the next day. This day, 1989, Cleveland's Felix Fermin ties an MLB record with 4 sacrifice bunts in one game. We beat Seattle 3-2. The last player to do it prior to that was Ray Chapman in 1919. Now, I'm shooting from the hip. What do you know about Ray Chapman?
I don't know anything about Ray Chapman.
I think you should, because I think he was the last player to pass away in a baseball game.
I did not know
He
that.
got hit in the head with a ball.
Did not know that.
With Cleveland.
Did not know that.
Creepily on August 16th of 2020. Yeah, that's not good. Chapman was hit in the head. Oh, no. He was hit in the head by a pitch by Carl Mays. Mays admitted that he dirtied the ball, making it difficult for Chapman to see. As of this year, he is the only player to die directly from an injury received in a Major League Baseball game. So, more about on that one. This day, 1989, Nolan Ryan records his 5,000th strikeout.
A lot of strikeouts.
Never be touched again. This day, 1950, Thea Gibson becomes the first African-American woman on the U.S. tennis tour. Tennis is fun to watch. It's even fun to play, but I never got into it. This day, 1865, William Shepard receives the patent for liquid soap. Before that, it was just bar soap. Where did we be today? Very happy birthday goes out to Carl Yastrzemski, Bill Parcells, Adam Thielen, Randall Cobb, LaMelo Ball, Dua Lipa, James Corden, Kristen Wiig, and Lane Staley.
There you go.
Crank up some Alice in Chains. I got one movie for you, but it sucks. Do you want to guess?
Sure.
2008. It's a remake of a movie where a bunch of prisoners drive fast cars.
Fast and Furious?
No. You ever see Death Race?
Nope.
The remake was with Tyrese Gibson and Jason Statham. The whole idea is that to sell a TV show, they have prisoners that race souped-up cars for their freedom.
Yeah.
The cars, the Mustang that he drives, that 07 Mustang that he drives in that Death Race movie, very beautiful. Other than that, crap-ass movie. Speaking of not well, my bets yesterday did not have. Let's go, guards! Let's go. Here we go. Gavin Williams, Garrett Cole. They are heavy favorites today. I've got them at minus 160. Over-unders an even 8. Do you like the Guardians plus a run and a half? Minus 140? Do you like the over? If I get Gavin Williams that I think Gavin Williams can be, then I'm liking the under. Do we get after Garrett Cole today?
The way we've been hitting, probably not.
Guardians are 1-4 straight up in their last 5, 2-5 straight up in their last 7 against the Yankees, 3-6 straight up their last 9 games on the road. Yankees over 13 out of their last 20, 4 out of their last 5 against Cleveland, and 6 out of 7 their last at home. Gavin Williams' last 3 starts, 5, 1, and 6 runs, 5, 3, and 8 strikeouts. I kind of like 4 strikeouts then for him. Cole, 8, 10, and 4 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. He's given up 3 earned runs over his last 3 starts.
That's a good pitcher.
Under 8.5. Give me the hook.
Okay.
Over Gavin Williams, or 4 or more strikeouts for Gavin, 4 or more for Garrett Cole.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Well, I mean, again, you're banking on strikeouts,
right?
Are going to equal not runs. Do that math. I made that real easy for everybody. Can I see what you can get me on that? Ooh, I got a boost for Quan and Ramirez to each have a hit. Should I put $5 on that?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to put $5 on that. It's plus 200, so 5 wins me 15. Okay. God, we got preseason action tonight. I'd rather bet on that, to be honest with you. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Same game parlay. Strikeouts. Why don't they give me Garrett Cole on this? Why don't I have Garrett Cole?
I don't know. I don't run the app.
All right, I'm going to have to get it later. That's what I'm going to do. All right, final thing for us. Bracket!
Yes, American Pie, Animal House. I know. Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller beat Superbad.
What? I hope Animal House wins. I'm anti-American Pie. I don't like Ferris Bueller because it beats Superbad. That's bullcrap.
I'll be voting
Animal House.
I guess Breakfast Club.
What? Give me a vote on Animal House, please.
Okay, I'll do
All
it.
right, thank you very much. That's all I asked. Great stuff today with Warren Sharp. If you missed it, go back. It'll be on the app. Right, let me ask you this real quick. When do things populate on the app?
It just depends when we get it in. I mean, I could do it. It'll be in.
No, I'm just, like in general for people. Like it's not like it'll be up there in 3 days. It'll be up by the afternoon usually, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So go check out our brand new app on iOS. It's up on Roku TV, Apple TV, Big Play. Just search it, download it, give us a 5-star review. You'll see our Warren Sharp interview there from today. You can always go back on YouTube, Twitter, all across the board at Matt Fontana Show. Really appreciate your support. We're back at it tomorrow, Friday edition. We'll get ready to go for the preseason game tomorrow and get after it, Guards, today. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.